We're back with Kelly Olson from the Village Family Service Center in Moorhead, talking about teenagers and the internet and socialization. You mentioned a good point during the break regarding parents. We have to remember that we are great role models for our kids. We are models.
Exactly. They actually learn from our behaviors. They don't learn from our words. We'd love them to learn from our words, but they actually don't learn from that. They learn from what we're doing. And so if we're plugged in during supper or when we're out at a restaurant or during a concert, then they learn that, oh, okay, well, we can constantly be plugged in. There's no time that's sacred time. Or if we're in a movie theater, how annoying is that when you're sitting in a movie theater and all you can see is just this whatever. But if we're doing that, then our kids are watching us do that, and so they're not learning, again, that social cue that's really rude. Shut your phone off. I want to enjoy the movie. You know, we pay this good money to enjoy the movie. Shut it off. The other thing is, I think it's important to acknowledge is that, you know, we post on Facebook, we post on Twitter. What are we posting about? And those are valuable lessons to our kids. If we're ridiculing somebody or bashing a political figure or posting inappropriate photos or whatever, all of that stuff is learned by our kids. And then our kids' friends see it and all kinds of stuff.
I have a friend who's in HR who said he was hiring or interviewing an applicant once, and she literally had her phone in front of her and was texting at the same time as she was doing the interview.
Right.
Like, you know, and this was back with the older phones where, you know, you didn't always necessarily have to look down because you knew where the keys were, you know, harder keys. And I was astounded. I mean, it's a job interview.
Right. And that's really poor social skills. Yeah. Very poor social skills.
Part of it is I hear stories from managers where millennials now have their parents taking them to job interviews. So I wouldn't doubt it if she was sitting there texting a parent or somebody going, okay, they just said this, what do I say? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm not kidding, it's crazy.
Oh my gosh, I have not heard that.
So let me ask you this, you mentioned moderation. How do you define that one? Because let's say that you've got a son or daughter that's just enamored with technology and they're destined to be the next Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. I mean,
right.
I wouldn't have said to Billy, hey, you probably shouldn't be around computers so much. I mean,
right,
thank goodness
because obviously he's a genius. Yeah, obviously, yes. Well, you know, there's certain things, you know, obsession. You know, kids can get way too obsessed. They can, you know, miss sleep, skip out on relationships. Maybe they're not even coming out of the room very often. I mean, those are some real red flags. Now, I don't know what Bill Gates was doing. My guess is he was in his room a lot. But
there's a balance. You can
there
do
is
both,
a balance, right? Exactly. Yeah. And I think parents should not be afraid to try to set limits to some of those things. And that, you know, I know a lot of parents talk about, well, I can't take away their phone. And they paid for it. Well, no, they're still under your roof. You're still the parents. You're paying for the bills. And have them park their phones at night at a certain time. I mean, obviously, as they get older, you're going to have to take a look at what your standards are, your restrictions are. But definitely, you know, when kids are getting phones, they're getting phones at like 12, 13. There's no reason why a kid at that age needs to have their phone at 11, 12 o'clock, because I guarantee you they're going to be texting and Facebooking and stuff like that, Twittering, whatever they're doing at 1 o'clock when they're supposed to be sleeping. And I think it's important for us to make sure that they're getting the right types of sleep and check up on your kids. Don't feel bad about checking up, especially if you have some concerns. If you've seen some behavior that makes you think, okay, I better check on, see what's going on. You know, maybe there's some rumors in the town, or another friend says, I don't know, you might want to check on your child's you know, Twitter account or whatever. And before they even get their technology, their phones and stuff like that, start with an internet contract. And you can actually just Google it online, and there's many different examples of, you know, this is when I'll take your phone away, this is how much I'll look up your stuff. Yes, it's your privacy, but if you do the following things, this is when I'm going to take a look at your information. And
good advice.
That's great advice.
Thank you so much, Kelly. We always learn so much when you're here. We appreciate it. All right, stay close. We'll be back.